Hello, storytellers, storytelling run. I'm doing this weird video. I don't know. I just want to do this video because my wife and I have been going on a couple dates now where we walk down Hollywood Boulevard, and I just want to kind of say what we did and what's kind of fun and interesting about it. And we both well, we really had a good time. Both nights that we did this on, 2 Saturdays in a row kind of thing, or was it? I think it was, yeah. And just a fun time. And I'm like, I want to do like European stuff where you walk around. We should be walking around, and we live within walking distance of all this stuff. And I'm a Christian right winger crazy guy, MAGA whatever. I see a lot of crime and a lot of deterioration in the city over the last since the lockdowns. There's been an incredible amount of deterioration, the BLM, the riots, the homeless, and all this stuff. And even today, it's still bad. And one thing I will say, I'm going to do a little rant, but I will. I don't like all the food vendors and all the vendors on Hollywood Boulevard. I like the culture of it, but I don't like the implication of it, which is, it's a lot of illegals. It's a lot of illegals. But they're also hurting the local businesses that are, following the rules and dealing with all the regulations they got to deal with, and the safety regulations that Democrats throw at every restaurant and business. And yet they allow then these street vendors who don't follow any of those rules and who are run by crime organizations, right? They're not individual entrepreneurs, which, I certainly would love to support, but they're run by criminal organizations. So ICE, please take them out. I don't want to take them out in this, in that one sense. I want to take them out because they're illegal. They're breaking the rules, and they're hurting the little stores, the little food vendors that are following the rules, and have all these empty stores along the way that don't get the business they should be getting. And that's a big frustration. And I remember that being sparked in my mind because of the gaslight in San Diego. All the bars were closing down because of all these illegal street vendors, and they were fighting it, but they were incredibly frustrated because they couldn't even sell hot dogs in their bars, which would help them out because there's hot dogs on the street by people who don't follow the rules. And of course, Democrats pick and choose which rules they want to enforce, and that's a basic definition of tyranny. Don't get me started. Okay, here I am trying to do a fun little video of my wife and I enjoying ourselves, and we did. Anyway, so we're walking along. And I'm just going to go through like this fun little Google map thing here and just to sort of explain the different areas. Now, not all things here do we necessarily want to go to, but I'll explain as we go. Anyway, there's Beetle House, LA right here. And it's right in this little building right here. This little, right here. I haven't gone. I don't, the reason I'm including is because I want to go. And it does look like a fun little thing and I hope they stay open. I don't know. They seem to be doing okay though. They even have a goth club, but it's on Sundays, which I've never just wanted to go on Sundays. In the back, I think it's still going on. I'm not sure. It might be. I don't know if it's still going on because I don't go to that one. But it's kind of an offshoot type of club from the other place I go. But anyway, the Beetle House is like Beetlejuice, the movie, and so it's themed. It's dark. It's goofy. It's food and a bar. I haven't gone, but again, I'd like to go at some point. Anyway, so we walk along. And, there's the bus tours and all that. And then this place is kind of, nothing much going on here. But then the Hollywood Roosevelt here. This is an old classic right here. See this? There's a Tropicana pool and cafe in the back. I think that's just like temporary. It opens sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. I don't really know. I haven't been to that part. But I love that inside the Hollywood Roosevelt is where the original Oscars were. So it's all old dark wood inside and old Spanish tile looking. So it's classic Hollywood, which I guess I'm getting older and I just want nostalgic when I go to places. And actually most of the places I'll be mentioning have a nostalgia to them. The 25 Degrees Hamburger is awesome. They're open 24 hours and we've been there very late at night, once or twice after the goth club. So but I try not to go too often because that's heavy duty, and the fries are like beer battered. The onion rings, really greasy and intense. If it was deep fried in tallow or lard, I'd be thrilled. But it's obviously everything's deep fried in seed oil. So, but very delicious. I'd recommend it if you're like crazy. But the Hollywood Roosevelt has a couple of bars in there that are It has one for the lobby, the big main open courtyard lobby, or not courtyard, but lobby area, which is kind of neat if you have a group of people you want to sit around lounging in couches and sofas. And then there's a cool little bar upstairs where the two bowling lanes are, and that one's very sort of dark and in the recesses, and they have really good drinks and stuff. It's just like a stop off to get a drink, you know, kind of neat thing. And yes, I'm an extreme Christian, nationalist Christian, but I do drink and I do go out and do things. I don't get drunk though. I do not like getting drunk. I hate it. I don't, and it's really true. The Bible says about it too. The more you get drunk, the more you get away from just the joy of Jesus Christ. So I love being sober. Even when I'm drinking, I don't like it when I'm drunk because it feels like I'm getting further away from Christ. So when I'm drinking, I'm you know, if I can feel myself starting to get drunk, I don't want to drink anymore. I just want to eat some food or drink some water. It's kind of really a joyful thing now because I used to be an alcoholic and then I got sober for 13 years and I came to Christ within that 13-year period. And then I just realized nothing can get in the way of my love for Christ. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be super confident and cocky here, but I'm just saying. And I have gotten drunk a few times as a Christian and paid the price and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I drink once or twice a week at least. And then, last Saturday, I had a bottle of red wine and then a hard liquor drink at the Hollywood Roosevelt. Full bottle of red wine on my own. And then we shared another bottle with my wife, you know, 2 bottles between the two of us. And I drink most of it. But it's weird. I didn't get drunk at all. And I think though that also has to do with my 1 meal a day type of diet that I'm on. But anyway, that's another story. All right. So 25 degrees, really good little bar, little our burger joint there. That's part of Hollywood Roosevelt. And then inside, and it's really neat inside the Hollywood Roosevelt too, just to walk around and check it out and see if you can get, sometimes things are open, sometimes they're closed depending on what's the events. But the big room on the right when you enter the main area is where the Oscars originated or whatever, where they first had it. And of course they moved it over to the Chinese. And I always like to call it the Man Chinese because that's the original Hollywood version, but it's a TCL Chinese theater now. And I love going there. It's IMAX. I love going there for movies. It just has the nostalgia when you go there. You know, obviously next to it is the big new. Well, it's been there for years now, but the new Hollywood and Vine type of big open mall, which I think has been kind of a fiasco as far as, you know, you can see right there. It's got this big open courtyard thing, but it's very hard to walk around. It doesn't feel like a shopping type of place. The stores come and go. The restaurants are, you know, to me, I have not too impressed with. So it's kind of. This is the walkway into the Oscars, and like there's stores on each side that are supposed to be fancy, but you know, whenever I walk in there to get to the movies, it just feels empty, you know, and it's never felt like a crowd of people like at the Grove or, at the Grove really. So I feel like the design of this place is pretty bad. And then they had to, over the years, they had to like add in more stairs and change the routes. So it's just kind of a depressing, building to me. You can stand on this walkway here up above. So I do recommend if you're at Hollywood Boulevard to go check, walk around it. But you can stand on it and then see the Hollywood sign, which is here somewhere. It should be right there, I think. Right. Well, it's supposed to be right there, but because it's kind of blurry. But it should be the Hollywood sign. Oops. Is right in view of this thing here. And there's Hollywood or Highland right there. This hotel Lowe's right here, I think it's called Lowe's or something. I forget what it's called, but it's Lowe's, yeah. It's got like a nice bar. I went to Sunday brunch there once. Felt kind of clinical, like clean, a little too clean for me, but it's kind of an interesting hotel there. I've never been to the bar. I've just been to the Sunday brunch once, and haven't gone back. So, Hollywood Highland is that. Again, Hollywood Roosevelt, I really like going there. El Capitan Theater is obviously interesting because it's Disney owns it now. It's an old classic theater for kid movies and kid shows. If you're, bring your kids there for a movie, I think they'll like that. And there's a next door is an ice cream parlor, like a Disney ice cream parlor right there. The vendors it's heavy with vendors on here, which I don't like. And also I noticed too that the vendors now are very, I don't know, they're it's too much. They got too much stuff. It feels like a truck comes by and unloads it. Doesn't feel like an entrepreneur. And years before, the vendors were not really vendors. They were like a guys that draw your portraits, right, with cartoon style. Or there's one guy who does little sculpture, 3D quick sculpture of your face. So there'd be like these little guys, little artists doing stuff on this, with their little rugs out, and that was interesting in the sense that it felt like individuals. But today it feels like just a bunch of businesses grabbing the spots, and that should be cleared out. And there's even like this black theology Jew group that's there that's really loud and obnoxious, which I wish they would leave, but whatever, that's fine, that's freedom of speech. But they are kind of like militaristic looking, and the black, what are they called, black Jews or something? Those guys are lame, but whatever. But at least I don't feel like they're like some sort of crime network or anything. Okay, so let's see. Let's move on here. There's and there's the Wahlburgers is here. I haven't had a Wahlburger burger, but it's here, little store. I'm kind of curious about that. But it's sad because they set up this business, put hundreds of thousands of dollars at least into them, and then these street vendors come along and just ruin it. So I really turning this into a political rant here. I really wish they would stop these street vendors. I think that's really bad for business, for tourism, to be honest, in truth, because it hurts the stores that actually pay taxes. But the Democrats won't enforce anything, and I'm kind of bummed out about that. There's around the corner here is this old diner. I forgot what it's called. I haven't been in a while, but it's Mel's, and it's very classic, kind of a little too clean food for me. So I guess that's why I haven't gone in a while. I used to go to it back in the day, but I haven't gone in a while. But Mel's Diner is kind of neat. It's a dinery type of thing. I don't go there, but anyway, let's move along. So we walk along down here. We got to go through the crowds, very crowded, very, very rough stuff. Not rough, criminal-wise, just crowding and getting through. But everyone's nice and generally very mixed of third world and tourists and even rockers and weirdos and plenty of homeless weirdos. And there's along here, of course, there's the Scientology. They're pushing their little agenda here and there. I think they're not rude or anything, but they're in here. Anyway, so I want to get to, there's a cantina here. This is the Egyptian, and I've only been there once or twice, but they seem to have a lot of events there, sort of interesting like theater events. And they'll have this closed off with a fence, but then I'm sure if you sort of go to the Egyptian and see what events are going on, you could probably get into those. But it seems very like Hollywood, in industry or promotional stuff. So if you're into that, I've never done any of it. I'm gonna now espouse Hot Mother Clucker Grill. This is the I think this is the bar. Yeah, bar. So right along here now is a couple of like San Diego Gaslight, like sort of college-y bar, places that I don't really, sports bar-y kind of places that are, a lot of people, it's just not my bag, beer and junk food and nachos and things like that. Not my game, but if you're into that, that's there. Ooh, LA Bartending Academy. Oh, wow. Maybe I should go check it out. I'm not into drinks, man. Hard liquor. I'm just not into cocktail. I'm into wine. I'm just not in. I'm into pet nats now. I'm really not into. I try. I've had my fair share of drinks, but I'm just not into it. I love just the wine. Anyway, so here, Michelli's. I'm going to recommend Michelli's. We went both times the Saturdays that we hung out. Michelli's is not my style of food. It's goofy Americano Italian, just the cheap goofy stuff. It's not, and then it's kind of pricey because everything's freaking pricey here in LA. The prices are ridiculous. The 2 Italian sausage with bell peppers on top is $20. It's $20, and that's supposed to be a side. They're pretty good size, but still $20. It feels $20. It feels like it should have been $12, back in the day, but now it's 20, and everything's a little expensive. Their wine is definitely cheap and it tastes cheap, but I got the most expensive wine I could there, which is the Chianti Classico, $60 bottle, which $60 is considered a cheap bottle of wine in the restaurants that I go to. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to. I'm not super rich. We're okay. The wife and I, we're fine. We're okay. We can retire, live frugally and peacefully at this point in our lives. Our daughters are doing great. So I'm not, super rich. But we do go to certain places that are, I guess, $60 bottle is kind of cheap. Anyway, Michelli's though is fun. It's just fun. It's nostalgia. It's dark wood. You go inside. It's very atmospheric. It's very small and tight in there, which I really like. It's got multiple levels. I do recommend trying to go to the main floor or the second floor because it's more crowded there. Then they have an upper terrace, but you feel kind of removed, which I didn't. It wasn't horrible. We still enjoyed ourselves for sure, but it feels a little removed to me. But you can see down into the place. But there's a piano there, live piano, and all the servers are required to sing. So they sing like Disney or classical Hollywood songs or Rat Pack, and they'll come up and sing, take turns, and it's really great. I really like that. I like it feels nostalgic in there, so I really recommend it as a place to go. Saturday got really busy after about 5 or 6 o'clock. We went earlier. We went at 4 or 5 the first time. It was almost half empty or more, and it was nice. It was still nice. We got the food. I'm very carnivore, and my wife's eats very healthy, but I'm getting her to get more carnivore. But she eats a lot of salad. We don't eat carbs that much, since the whole place is just carbs. But we make do, and the wine is obviously bad, and the wine glasses are hilarious. They're like these thick little goblets. They're not like wine glasses. They're funny. But I loved it, and the singing, and just that we got our favorite server now just by chance, John, yeah, and he barely remembered us from the last time, but whatever, that's fine. But we just whatever we when we go places and we say we think we're gonna frequent it, we tend to pick somebody, a bartender or someone specific that we try to be personal with at the place and tip well, and that makes just the whole thing more enjoyable. So that's what we do. So Michelli's, I recommend if you're like a tourist going to Hollywood, especially with a family, it'll be fun. Everything is so damn expensive and ridiculous, and this is a cheap version of that, right? Cheap version of this expensive, but fun food. It's all the whole pastas and pizza and dark little space in there. So I really like that. And very family. It feels like a Disney restaurant, like a Disney place. But probably reservations if you're going to go during normal dinner time. Okay, Musso and Frank's. Let's move on. Now, again, some of these places are pretty neat. Supply Sergeant, there's their stock. I went there recently to get some stuff, and their stock is not that great. Anyway, Musso and Frank, right there we go. That's the classic. That's the one right there. Look at that. That's the classic steak and martini place. We went on a Saturday, no reservation. We walked in. The guy at the front is pretty like, we can't let you in. We don't know. I'm like, well, can we just check out can we just check out the bar? He goes, oh, okay, fine. So we went and we were going to the Pantages to see the Neil Diamond musical, which I really enjoyed. But we went into the Musso and Frank and went to the bar, and there's one open bar, but it's on the right side, because the bar is in the middle and separates out 2 rooms of dining, and on the left side, it's the bar is reservation dining, which I really hate that now that they make bars. Even near our house, there's this place where they have a bar, an old classic bar, but they turned it into dining, which kind of sucks. Although I'm getting older, I guess I don't really care that much about that. But anyway, I don't care about going to the bar. Although I did here. So Musso and Frank's, we went to the bar. Very crowded. It's funny how the bar on the right side, long and narrow, and it has a wall separating the dining area. So it's only like 2 people deep, that you can get into the bar. And it was 2 people deep of people when we got there. So we really got on the corner edge. But everyone was polite. The servers were nice to us. The bartenders were helpful. We got our little martinis, and they were good. And here's what's interesting: they were $20 each, so $40. But technically, you got 2 martinis, because you got the martini, we got the vodka, got the whole James Bond martini, vodka with lemon. Say lemon twist, because if you just say lemon, they're gonna throw a bunch of lemon on it. And an old lady at the bar told us that. Actually, I'm old too, so it's kind of funny when I see old people, and I'm like, look at these old people. And I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm part of the old people now. Anyway, so we got 2 drinks, but then they give us that little. My daughter told me what it's called, but that little side, extra thing in the ice. So it's literally 2 drinks. So that was nice. For $40, we got $10 a drink, really, and they were nice little martinis. Vodka martini with a lemon twist, and the vodka was Grey Goose. I think that's what my wife likes, and I enjoyed the martinis. I don't like, like I said, I don't really like to drink drinks. I like just wine, and but they were nice. I would like to go there again, just to have our martini, just sit there, maybe get there a little earlier. Maybe we got there at like 5:30, 6, maybe, or 5. It was crowded on a Saturday, busy. dinner. Oh, and the steaks are terrible. The worst. They're just lame. I could cook that at home kind of a steak. You know, they're cheap too, though. They're actually pretty cheap steaks. Oh, and the sides are so old and lame. I was just like, man, this is old Hollywood. The sides are just like steamed broccoli with I feel like they pour seed oil on it, you know, like some grapeseed oil or whatever, and warm it up in an oil. It's just like, you know, and then the side of spinach comes out of a can. It feels like how was whatever I had. I had the mushrooms, not tonight, but another tonight. I had the mushroom sauce on it. That felt like it came out of a can. I'm just saying. I just was like, this is what everyone. And I'm going to be a little snotty here and elitist, but the crowd is very. I was hoping my wife and I went in a suit and a tie, you know, in a dress. Everyone there was touristy, I guess, just not dressed at all, not dressed to the T at all. One woman had those full on Beverly Hills like full on, you know, sweatsuit looking thing, designer sweatsuit, which was like, let's say catty, no, whatever it is, tacky, so tacky. You know, that's how judgmental I am. It was just, it's kind of lame, you know. You should, places like this, I feel like you should dress up. You should go out and dress up, you know, be nice, look something. But most people there are just looking goofy. And I'm not, you know, whatever, it's fine. But I can call it out. You can call it out. I can call it out. You can call out when I look like trash, and I will call it out when you look like trash. Okay, that's the game. Okay, let's move on. Anyways, great place to go for a drink, and for dinner, I still think it'd be fun to go. You know, if you wanted to check it out, I think it's a good place to go. Nonetheless, the nostalgia, the atmosphere, and maybe you can find a gem on the menu. I don't know, and the prices are decent. So that's that. All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bordner's, but not much. But that's the club I go to. But for the most part, Bordner's, great bar, very Hollywood classic looking bar, great food. By the way, if you want to go there for food and just eat, and great I like the atmosphere. Bartenders are cool, nice, mellow. The goth club I go to is there. The bar Sinister, which is well known, is there on weekends, and that one's much more, you know, S&M and overt or whatever. I like to go to the Wednesdays one. It's a lot more just date night with the wife. That's just what we know. That's just our thing anyway. So I probably shouldn't talk about that one. Anyway, I mean, I just don't want people going, hey, I know you. Like, I don't, you know, I don't go. I just go there for my wife and I having our dance a few. And we leave early too. We get there early and we leave early, so we don't stay that long. We know our bartender, and you know, and do our thing. We're not regulars, but we know a lot of people there in a nice way, in a nice surface value way. Do I share the gospel there? No, I don't. I don't turn off the gospel. To me, going into these sort of dark debauchery places is about showing a husband and a wife going to these places and not being affected by the debauchery or the sexualizing of the women and stuff. I don't. You know, I want to show people there and the world that, you know, a husband and wife can be a husband and wife no matter where you are, and be in love, and you know, and we dance together and we just show them. And you know, I don't dance. We don't do any debauchery or anything. We dance showing them romance. You know, a gentleman and his wife kind of thing, type of thing, and you know, like that. And we, you know, so that's our thing. That's what my wife and I just know that. In our early romance, we didn't have like family around. We were in LA, and we met each other when we were younger, and that's all we know is our romance, our style, you know. So we didn't grow up like around family and did family events as our romance. We grew up here, isolated from our family, and so that's just kind of what we know, like, you know, and as part of our just togetherness. So there's that. Let's move on. Okay, so we kind of, let's see. Oh, right around, there's a bunch of little stores here. I wish y'all would come and support them. Mona Lisa Tops costume store. You know, they're kind of, it's just, I just wish these little funny little goofy stores and shops were supported. So we did a shopping spree at a couple of goth stores, and I think they're right here. Let me see. Hot. They're a bit satanic, you know. They have satanic stuff in it because of the goth thing and all that, but they had some crosses in it as well. They even had a guy, and I didn't share the gospel with him or anything, but the guy was wearing a shirt saying, you know, your foolish belief of God is gone now, or whatever. I forgot the wording of it, but I didn't want to, like, they're shopping, I'm shopping. I'm not there to inside of a private business to gospel someone. But it's just, I like being around those types of darkness, just so that I'm constantly being uncomfortable, and I'm testing myself as well. I am not going to be. I don't encourage you to do this if you're not ready for it or if you're not comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with the Satanist people. I'm comfortable with the goth people. In the sense of they don't, I don't want to be them. I look at them and just shrug. Like, if I see a sexual billboard or if I see porn, I don't masturbate to porn. It doesn't bother me, affect me anymore. I don't even gravitate toward that. Now, I'm certainly a perverted, horny mofo with my wife, but I don't, I just don't. And I'm not to say that I'm immune to seduction. I'm not going to go there and get cocky and say that. I'm got to be careful. I've got to be joyful in my wife and in my life, and I got to be close to God. So I'm not saying I'm immune to things, but going out or just surface stuff doesn't bother me. I'm still love the Lord. The Lord is more important to me than any of that. So there's a couple. It's funny. There was a couple stores here we really had a good time at, these goth stores, and I'm trying to see if I can if they'll pop up in the thing. But they're called. Well, one's called Hot Rock. I got the card here. It's right here somewhere. Maybe it's down here. I just want to see if it's going to pop up. The name. I'm looking for the name. Anyway, there's two. Not a weed store. I'm pretty sure they're right in here somewhere. But they're along here, and you can see them because they are. It's right. I remember passing this tattoo shop. Yeah, it's not the tattoo shop. Where did that? It just flipped me around or something. Where am I? And it's weird I don't see them on here. Anyway, they're here. They're right around here. One of them is called Hot Rock. Let's see. 6717 Hollywood Boulevard. All right, let's just do it real quick. 6717 Hollywood. Where's this? Oh, passed it up. Okay. It was before. Okay. That's right. It's right. Yeah, it's right near. I'm sorry. It's right near Bordner's. So right here. Okay, cool. There it is. Okay. All right. I'll just go to the right. Oh, it's well. Anyway, it's during the day, I guess. Hot Rock that's open though. That one, and then there's another one like further along here. Let's see. And what's funny, it's also pretty much the same stuff. Where is it? It's probably closed as well. It's probably this one right here. Same stuff. Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's this one right here. I don't know what it's called. Let me see. Anyway, you can tell, you can see them because they're both very similar, but it's all like black leather. Of course you can't see it now. Black. There's no. It's got a website. Hot Rock, something. HotRockHollywood.com. Anyway, it's all like goth stuff and jewelry and all that. And we just had a good time. We went in. I actually bought some cool stuff. The wife actually ended up buying some cool shoes. It's just funny hanging out with the salespeople and getting some stuff. And I'm just gonna move. It's right. These 2 blocks right here, by Michelli's actually. And I ended up getting some rings and be a little more gothy kind of fun stuff. So we did that. That was cool. I enjoyed that. We had fun. Like, didn't know we were going to spend that much money, but I was glad. I was glad that I supported little stores, little shops that are just struggling along. I mean, are they going to recover? And you want to go into places, you want to go in and it was so narrow too in there and stuff. The stores are so small, but I just miss going to stores, man. I don't want to do everything online anymore. I don't want to do Amazon all the time and anymore. I just gotta stop doing that. Anyway, so we did that. That was fun. Anyway, let's see. Musso and Frank's. Where's Musso and Frank's? I know it's in front of my face. Okay, places we have not gone yet. So after Musso and Frank's on a one night, we were going to the Neil Diamond. Why can't I say it? Okay, whatever. Musso and Frank's is here somewhere. But let's move on. No, I want to reorient myself here. Where? It's like right here, right? Where the heck is it? I just want to get back to where I was. It's not that far. Okay, I know it's across from Bordners. Bordners is here and Musso and Frank. Okay, there's Musso. Whew. Okay, there's an escape room. Never gone. I do not like escape rooms. I don't like the concept of them, so I'm not going. Black Rabbit Rose Magic. Never gone, but I do want to go. Is a magic show place. So there's it's like instead of going to the Magic Castle, where you need to be a club or whatever, and it's an all night event. This one's just like a one. I think there's a dinner and stuff there. Look, it's got pretty good reviews too. So I have not gone, but it does look like something I should go to at some point. Although I used to be a member of the Magic Castle, so I've seen all the tricks. I've seen all the it was fun for a while, but I left. I end up being the guy. Just so you all know, I'm famous there. Well, I'm sure I'm forgotten, but what I did was famous, and me and a few others. But we were members, and we took the we just took because it was available, the email list, and then we countered. They had a whole BLM push. BLM, it was ridiculous. They were taking a knee to BLM and money, and without even the consent of the members, because we're members, and they posted a whole thing on Facebook, on our private thing, whatever, and it was just a whole woke attack on everyone, on all the other members. Anyway, I don't want to go into detail, but it was this long thing. So we took the email list and we wrote our own email and blasted out to everybody, and of course that angered some people. And so that was my notorious Magic Castle membership, associate member thing that I did with a few others, and nothing really came of it. They suspended me or whatever. I didn't care. I quit. I left because I was like, F this. I don't want to be part of this. It's not magical anymore if they're going to be that ridiculous. And now they're all backtracking, and we don't want to be political, but they wanted to be political when they thought they had the strength. Now it's got sold to a private, Silicon Valley guy, and I think he just wants to be, just good old. I don't know the story anymore, but I don't care. But they did. The trans came in, the gays. They tried to come in and change the Magic Castle. They tried to change the rules. They tried to change the look of it. All this stuff, this politically correct stuff and woke stuff, and they were destroying the whole nostalgia of it all. And even I want the nostalgia of bigoted men and sexy women. I do, as a Christian. And they were getting rid of that. And you could tell the trans were coming in. And the trans were coming in and the gays were coming in because the board members that were gay or trans would vote them in, let them in, even though they weren't really that skilled, weren't really that dedicated to the art and craft. They did, as a magician, you could just learn a couple of tricks, or as a fake magician, you could just learn a couple of tricks. And then if you can do those, then they'll let you in, become a member, like a magician member. And that was what was happening. And I don't know what's going on there now, but it's you got to fight every fight, I guess, with the trans culture and the LGBT. They're trying to take over everything because they, like I always say, trans and gays don't want to be plumbers and construction workers. They want to be a part of the cultural agenda. They want jobs where they can affect culture and affect power. They don't want to go work honest jobs and raise their families because they don't have families. They want to go into jobs where they control culture, and that's why you see them so much in Hollywood and taking over a lot of the businesses and TV shows, and they're gatekeepers of all these things because that's the only job they want, and they get it from each other. They have orgies or whatever over the weekends, and then they get their jobs through them. That's how it works, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, so let's move along. So that's Black Rabbit Rose Magic. That might be cool. Black Rabbit Rose Magic. And here's the thing I want to say about all these neat little stores and restaurants. I really hope that the youth of America does this in all the small towns. You got to try starting a little business, as risky and lame it is as it is. You got to try and start a neat little business and put effort into it. Put a craft into it, like interior decoration. make it an experience. You know, and you got to work out the money as well. Probably be super cheap until you figure it all out. But the thing about big cities that I got to admit about the big cities, and I don't know if this is, I used to think this was a left wing positive, but I don't think it is. I think it's just that big cities just bring in the talent and the money. But and the left, and I think the left just parasites off of that. They just rush to the big cities themselves and then parasite off of everything that people do. But to set up all these things is a lot of work, a lot of business, you know, a lot of days and nights making it look good and putting and set and getting a really nice looking, you know, decor going. Decor is very important, not trashy decor, not cheap decor, but looks good decor, to create an environment so that people want to come and have an experience, a nostalgic experience. And to me, the places I gravitate towards have a nostalgia to them. Musso and Frank's, Michelli's, Hollywood Roosevelt. And this, I really should go to this Black Rabbit and Rose Magic because, you know, like the Magic Castle has a nostalgia to it that I, you know, want to cling to. And I remember talking to I forgot his name now, you know, the owner or the creator of the Magic Castle. He was there at the bar and we talked, and he said that, you know, all this stuff was just junk he brought in. He just acquired it and brought it in, you know, and then kept building from there, because the whole place is just full of not junk but nostalgic stuff. It's full of just nostalgia. And they were removed. Yeah, that was another thing. The freaking new LGBT trans people were removing some of the stuff that they found offensive. I was like, you know, the men's bathrooms had this wallpaper on the stalls that had the harems of Arabia, and it had a harem and the sheiks with a white woman as a slave, like, you know, it was very like beautifully done, like nostalgic Hollywood art, but obviously a very horrifying scene type of thing. But it was wallpapered in the bathroom. And it was just part of what we knew. We knew in old Hollywood about the harems and all that. But we also ended it. You know, we Christians went into Saudi Arabia and into the Middle East and ended the harems and all that. I mean, they're probably coming back now. But we ended it in the sense of, you know, they couldn't just openly. Anyway, my point being, in the Magic Castle, that was there. It was very cool and dark, and, you know, it had a very offensive imagery, but it was also very cool and artistic. And even as a Christian, I like it because it reminds us of what the evil that it was. But that got removed. It's all gone, and that was classic art, tapestry style or Hollywood art, whatever, painting in there, and they removed it. They got rid of it. Now it's like it was all white. They painted it, you know, like freaking communist Marxist. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but they got rid of that. And I was like, what? And I was just like, what? You know, just lame. Anyway, you know, pagans want to do that. They want to hide their history. They want to hide what they used to love and, you know, they want to hide it. But they're the ones that did it. Pagans, Islam, whatever. You know, pagans are full of slavery and cannibalism, but they don't want to hide that history. So they want to hide it and don't want you to know. Don't get me started. Okay. Hollywood Suits is really interesting. I've been there a couple of times, got some suits from there. It's really, I hope they're still doing okay there. But it's, you know, it's a cool little place to get suits. I kind of like it. You know, cheap suits, buy one, buy two, get three or whatever. But I've got my suits there, and a few of them. And I even once my little nephew came over from England, little DJ nephew, and this was years ago, but we took him there and got him a suit, and he was so like, you know, kind of excited. Just never had a suit before. That was neat. Okay, down on the right, which I don't go to, but if you're more of a college-y, whatever, down here on the right is some cool, like, you know, this area over here is like cool little Hollywood up-and-comer people kind of thing over there. Bars and, you know, sports bars and all that, like the Gaslight kind of place. Don't go there myself. And then up here is supposed to be a nice restaurant, some Italian restaurant somewhere up here. I don't know where it is, but anyway. It's here somewhere. Oh, one place I forgot, which I haven't gone to, but is here somewhere. It's called Avalon. It's very cool and hip looking. It's right. Where is it? I think it's right here. Yep, Avalon. And I've been kind of wanting to go, but it's very like, don't get this up here. Right here, Avalon. It's very like DJ music events and stuff. Oh, Gemma Hollywood is an Italian restaurant I kind of want to check out. It's kind of a new, modern-y looking. I want to check that out. I haven't been there, but we were thinking about it. But Hollywood Avalon is, you know, I'm not. It's more of like the pop and the soul and the R&B. I don't think R&B, but EDM, electric dance music type of thing. So if you're into that, big, you know, DJ, but dressing up, they dress up. It's very spiffy kind of place. That's might want to be one you want to check out there. There's a Lost and Found. If you want, you might even find celebrities there. Is a nice little. My wife actually when she was laid off, you know, she actually went to Lost and Found and worked there. So like 4 or 5 stores here, all very strange, vintagey, European-y stuff. But a lot of she saw a lot of celebrities there when she worked there. She worked there just, you know, helping out and just, you know, just worked as a little store clerk. She did a lot of busybody work in there with the stock and getting things all set up, and then helped out several actors, big time actors in there, buy stuff, very expensive, you know, help fit them and everything. It's kind of neat little Hollywood experience for her, you know, just in between her fashion director jobs. But I almost feel like I would like her just to work there and we just live out our little happy retired life, and if that's what she would like to do, you know, and had more time together because she works long hours. But anyway, I'm trying to get her to retire. But all right, where we at? Let me get back. I think I went the wrong way. Okay, get back down to Hollywood. Okay, so let's move along. The Pantages. I've only went there twice. Once many years ago to see The Lion King with my daughter, and then we went there to see the Neil Diamond's musical, which was really good. I really enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed the whole night because what we did. I don't want to skip this. I'll get the Scum and Villainy bar, by the way, is right not here at L. Ron Hubbard, which maybe that's where is it? I just saw the name of it here somewhere. Scum and Villainy right here. So this is the whole Star Wars cantina looking place. We were gonna go there one of these nights, but we didn't go. I just, you know, let's move on to the Frolic Room. But that's definitely cool that someone did that. You know, had this bar here, so that's kind of neat. So if you want to go check that out, that's a Star Warsy cantina kind of place. Then we went over to, guess where we went to? The Frolic Room. Here it is. So the Frolic Room is right next to the Pantages, literally right next door. It's a little bar. It's a classic Hollywood classic bar. I don't like that they have TVs in there now, but I wish they would turn those off. But it's just a little bar there. It was neat. I got the champagne. They had individual bottles. That was neat. $10, very cheap. $10 a bottle, and I enjoyed that. Then we went to the Pantages for the Neil Diamond. And what's cool is during intermission, which is like 18 minutes, the bartender said, "You can come back here." And so they just stamped us, and we walked right around the corner. Instead of going to the bar, you know, inside the Pantages, we went to the bar and hung out. And I drowned down 2 more drinks. But during the show, I didn't drink at all, you know. And they do have bars in the Pantages, but you have to drink at the bar, you know, right there, and it's very weird. And they even sell like candy, like theater candy, like the big Milk Duds and all that. But you can't eat them inside the theater. You have to it's so weird. Like, why are they? Anyway. The lobby is a nice big area, very nostalgic feel to the Pantages. The theater is huge. It's funny. We sat in the very back left. They were the last tickets mainly that I could get. They were $90 each tickets. So because anything else is 100, 200 or whatever. And it was on a Saturday. And but I just wanted to get the back tickets and just get a feel for this place. But I love the Neil, for some reason I'm a goth alternative 80s, but Neil Diamond's music is just great. I love his stuff. I listened to it, his album. He's one of the rare, well, his greatest hits album I listen to kind of easily, you know, every now and then, just doing whatever. Even on easy workout days or whatever. His music is great. Anyway, and his show was great. It was good. Very interesting, very sad, very you know, not sad, but just the whole wives. They definitely touched on the wife thing, you know, the wives that he had, and those relationships and failed relationships, and his frustrations, but then also his successes and his hard work and all that. It was a good show. It was fun. It was interesting. It was simple. You know, the sets were simple. The music was great. I really was impressed in the sense of I really did get the understanding that wow, this woman did one of the women did the jeans song, and and I would rather have had the male sing it, the main guy. But just watching her sing it, dance it, she has to look hot. She has to look beautiful. The whole number, like singing right is a lot of work. Dancing this routine while doing an entire show routine to me was like, man, I get now why we're paying $80, $90 a ticket. I get now why we should pay a lot of money for these things and enjoy these things, and we should, applaud, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I'm like, I don't want to sing and dance and do all these. I've been working on singing. I've been working on dancing just in a hobby way sense, and it's just, I'm tired. I'm just tired of my little 5 minutes of trying to karaoke or 5 minutes of dancing. I'm just tired. I don't want to. It's just a lot of work to get those numbers down and memorize the numbers. Because right now, my wife and I are like practicing or learning swing dance type of stuff, and we're just trying to learn the steps, over and over. But these are the steps and the choreography. I'm just like, man, I gotta, in my older age, I'm appreciating how much work is put into it, and that I gotta pay for that, with artists. So, anyway, so that was enjoyable, very enjoyable, and the Amoeba Music Record Stores are here. I didn't even know that, but that's a Amoeba Music Record Store. Hopefully, they're still as good as they were. They're very nice, eclectic, giant, Hollywood or place or with nostalgia. I hope in the previous place that was like that. You went in there and felt it. They used to be at the ArcLight, right near the ArcLight, which is closed down, which is sad. But anyway, so that's my little take here on Hollywood Boulevard and what's going on there and things to do and see, and just my little walkthrough. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just walking through, looking at things, going to one or two stores, then going to have dinner somewhere in Michelli's, obviously, but picking a place and a couple bar things, and that's it, and then going home. And it was really just kind of it felt like we were out somewhere not exotic, nostalgic. It felt like we had a fulfillment of just a joyful experience. And I hope and pray, I don't know, that's a strange way of looking at it, but I hope and pray that like all cities have this type of thing, where there's a bit of nostalgia there for whatever. There's a nice restaurant to go to, a nice bar with a positive vibe to go to. If you could go dancing, that's a bad word. Okay, if you can go dancing or something where you have a little more involvement in what you do, whatever it is, and I hope and pray too that people in the youth and the entrepreneurs will set up, build these type of places that people can go to. It's a lot of work, and a lot of risk, and a lot of time, but it's what we need in our culture, in American culture, or wherever, is to have these kind of places. And I hope that the goal of any of these places is wholesomeness, not sexual exploitation. Obviously I go to places kind of sexual exploited, but I want to bring in a vision of wholesomeness to these places. I want them to see a man and a woman not catering to the exploitive side of it. And I have that sort of fortitude morally, I think. I believe I do. So I don't mind going to places, but I don't want you or anyone to go to places that you definitely don't feel like you're comfortable with. And that's totally good. But I do want us as Christians to go out to these places and be there. Be a guiding light in places and in darkness. And I always push my role-playing game, but it may sound like I'm saying, well, go ahead and play Dungeons and Dragons at these places, but no, it's the reason I'm pushy on the role-playing games is because we're talking outwardly constantly, and we're constantly saying things. Thusly, I think, well, we should be saying things about the gospel. When I'm going down these streets and stuff, I'm not really constantly saying stuff, and the places are not really meant for that. They're meant for just like restaurants and bars, and where you're just sitting around and enjoying yourselves. But I have brought up the gospel to people when the opportunity permits. But I want to do it at the right time, what feels right. But I also, to me, more importantly, I want to show them that a husband and wife are so important, in life and joys. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Whatever, that's how I enjoy it. So that's it. That's my little fun little off the cuff Hollywood essay on walking down Hollywood Boulevard and enjoying it. And I'm sure we're going to do. We've got plenty of other things to do and are doing soon enough. But I just wanted to say that that's the fun and joy of this area. And if anyone is coming to visit Hollywood Boulevard, those are some options for you. All right, it's a weird little video, but I just thought I'd do it because we had a good couple nights here, a couple Saturdays doing that. All right, in the game of life, everybody, roll holy dice.